factoring in that cost of additional taxes and fees, that all has to play a part in making these acquisition decisions. So having that confidence to know that we were working with a team that was well versed in what these rules, what the regulations are, the tax regulation, with the track record of success, and knowing that if we followed the directions, if we provided everything on our end, that we could be reasonably assured that this would end, with the exemption in place, and that we could move forward without having to come up with that additional revenue or that additional capital to pay those taxes. My name is Ron Stewart. I'm with Wilson Utility Helicopters. We're based in Lodi, California. Our primary work revolves around power utility, both patrols, construction, maintenance. So our business is dedicated to utility operations. We do a lot of external load operations. When it came time for us to look at buying aircraft, it was in addition to a fleet of aircraft that we already have. So we were adding to those numbers to basically meet demand of what is currently happening within the power utility sector. It's just a tremendous amount of work and demand that is coming our way, with everything from providing power to data centers, moving energy from the wind turbine, the wind farms, the solar farms, and from just power generation at different locations. That is a big demand of both construction and maintenance of that infrastructure. So when we started to look at what we could handle, it became evident that we were going to need to add aircraft. And so that really was what made the decision for us. Was we're just trying to meet demand of keeping up with the requests of our clients. When it came time to start laying out how this was going to look, obviously California in particular can be a little daunting when it comes to the cost involved in just the taxes and sales tax in particular. Those things have a big impact on the decisions of whether or not acquiring new aircraft is even feasible, and whether or not that works within our business model. So as far as the test period and breaking down what needed to occur, I think that we were given really a good roadmap of what information needed to be collected. We were able to implement that within our system of collecting our flight times, the specifics of what that particular mission was doing. So it actually was something we were able to feed that data directly to Julie and let her work specifically with our personnel here to start building out that model, and kept us really up to date of where we were. We had regular updates to show percentage wise of where we were at relative to where we needed to be. For us in our type of work, it was fairly easy. We just had to document everything along the way. And based upon what we were already doing for our clients, it really was not a burden at all to just, supply that information on a regular basis. Both of our projects, they were slightly different. We approached them a little different based upon the use of the aircraft. One had a little longer test period and having to document things over the course of a 12-month as opposed to a 6 month. So we came at both of these from a little different angle. We discussed the pros and cons of both, and it felt like we had all the information that we needed to make a good decision and to move ahead with it with full confidence that we were being given good counsel, and that we felt pretty assured that we knew what the outcome was going to be. I think just knowing that we were on track, we were doing our part. There was never any question that the things that we were doing were in line with what needed to occur. And I think just knowing that was progressing, and really eliminated a lot of the stress and just the questions of, will this work? We really didn't have to spend any time really thinking about it. It was just continue to do our part. Like I said, it was a matter of just implementing the process into what we were already doing on a daily basis and just working through the time required. And it really became pretty seamless and simple. I think that the final was when we did receive that first notification from the state that they had granted our exception for the taxes. And I think at that point it was not that we had any doubt up to that point, but I think at that point of receiving that in the mail was that final kind of the gold star to demonstrate that it worked. And we hadn't been through this process before. This was actually, these two transactions were the first aircraft we purchased in California. Prior to this, all of our purchases had been done up in Oregon, where the parent company is based. Oregon's just a completely different tax structure, and we just don't have to deal with these things. So in that regard, this was just having that guidance through this process, this being our first go at working through it. It worked out fantastic for us. My recommendation would be just do it. To me, it was so seamless for us. I would say that the best thing is just to take advantage of the simplicity of this system. Trusting experts that know what they're doing is a big relief. It's a big load off to know that we are working with people that are experts in the field and have a in-depth knowledge of what we're navigating. And from there shouldn't be any hesitation. So in my mind, it's just the way to do it.